Welcome to another episode of the Christian Business Advantage podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Avant, and today I have a very special guest with me to help us on this series for finishing the year strong in quarter four. And today we're talking about social media strategies to finish the year strong with Teresa Taylor. And I have been in a program with her recently for the last couple of months. And it's been such a joy and a privilege to get to know her and to learn from her. And I've learned so much already, but I want her to tell you about who she is and what she does. She is going to help us learn how we can strategize and use social media to finish out our year.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. So, my name is Teresa Taylor, and I'm a business coach and marketing strategist. So, basically, what I do is help women to make income by simplifying. So, a lot of women get into business and they see people having their website set up and their email and all their marketing is in check and all these things and we get bogged down by all the things that we think that we have to do when in actuality to make money and get started in business we don't have to have everything set up from the get-go. And so that's one of the things that I love to do is just to help women to really strategize and to simplify so that they can do less work to really start making the income and they are aligned in all areas of life including faith and business.
And see, that's what I love so much about your program and the things that I've learned from you. Teresa has a free Facebook group. That's how I found her. It's called Productive and Profitable. At least that's the first piece of it. So if you search for that, you'll find it. And I was in that group for a really long time before I realized exactly what she was offering and everything. If you're like me, you're in a lot of Facebook groups, but it began to stand out. And so a lot of what I have learned from her is what she's done in that group. And so I began to focus more in my business on Facebook. And one of the things that she's taught me is that simplifying and focusing in on one social media platform. And so, as those who are listening, which are mostly Christian authors, speakers, and coaches, and some virtual assistants, listen to my podcast, I want you to share with them where you're coming from on that, because I feel like a lot of them get very overwhelmed with having to be in all the places. So, what's some advice you would give them about using social media in their business, as we finish out the year?
Yeah, so I am a firm believer that one platform is the best thing to focus on until you have really learned the platform that you're on, or until you get to a place in business where you can hire additional help to start working on another platform. Now, the reason for this is because really platforms they take know-how, right? Like the algorithm, you have to understand the algorithm on the platform that you're working on, and every single platform has a specific algorithm. And so a lot of people think that I can just post here and then I can link, let's say, Instagram and Facebook. I can link my Instagram and Facebook accounts together. That's great, but what's the purpose of it? Right? In order to actually grow both your Instagram and Facebook following, you have to spend time on that specific platform, that app, and grow the audience. And so if you are not being active on both of those accounts, then you're not going to grow your audience. And doing it on two accounts is really tough. And I want to tell you that one of the things that I say sets people apart from having success or not having success in their business is that they have learned to master the mundane tasks. And those mundane tasks are the things that we know we have to do every single day in our business, but many of us don't. And part of that is because it takes time and it's not super fun. And so one of those tasks is audience growth, lead generation. And so if we're doing that on one platform really well, that will take time. And so if we're trying to grow two platforms or three platforms, suddenly we're going to have to duplicate that time on each platform. And most people that I know do not have the time for that when they are starting in business. It's not until they start growing a team or they have been on a platform for a year or longer and have really learned how to effectively grow their business on that platform. And then they can take that and duplicate it on another platform, making tweaks here and there, but still knowing that in order to be effective, even on that first platform, they still have to continue that audience growth over there. My advice is choose one platform and learn it really well. The platform you choose, it's completely up to you. I believe that your audience is pretty much everywhere. It's more, what are you drawn to? If you want long term content and you love doing videos, then YouTube is probably a great place, especially if you do like tutorials or trainings. If you like to have guests on, if you like to be very specific and you can talk about things without having to show them, a podcast would be a great place. But for most people, I think the best and quickest way to grow your audience and then grow your business is to do it using social media like Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook. And Facebook is phenomenal. It is still the number one app, social media app. And part of the reason for that is because of Facebook community. So it's cool that you said that you found me through my Facebook community. When we learn how to build an incredible community, like that will grow with the right people. Imagine if you were spending your time, your lead generation, audience building, and nurturing time on one platform inside of your own community that has been growing with the right people. Like suddenly you're using your time really well.
Right, because that's what's helped me the most, and I think will help those listeners, is finding that tribe or group of people and beginning to expand that, because I felt like I was in the right circles before I met you and learned some of the things that you've taught me, but I wasn't able to expand that circle very well, and I wasn't one thing, I was on all the platforms, and I'm not saying that I'm not on all of them now,
Right.
but I'm focused more on one platform. And for me, that is Facebook. And I do have a Facebook group that I'm growing, and it's got the same name as the name of this podcast, the Christian Business Advantage. And what I've been able to do is expand my circle. And so being very strategic with that and spending time on those mundane tasks has allowed me to do that. And I felt like I've been in the same circle of people for a really long time, and I needed to expand that circle. Is there anything that you can just a little tip or strategy that you could give our listeners about what you're doing that maybe they could tweak if they were going to use Facebook for their main platform?
Yeah. First, I'll say the main three things that we need to be focusing on every day we show up for our business is lead generation. So, meeting as many of the right people as possible, telling them what we do through our content, whether that's written content or video content. And then the third thing is to sell, to make offers or invite people into the next step. So whether that is your sales link or a sales call or just a conversation inside a messenger, like we should be doing that every single day. And so, regardless of the platform you choose, I think that's a really great place to start is how can I do these three things on the platform that I'm at on a consistent basis? Because if you're not doing all three consistently, your business will not grow. It might stay stagnant for a while, but then eventually it'll likely start dropping off. What it's
Yeah.
not going to do is grow. And so we want to have those three things in place. One of the biggest things that women I work with have trouble with is lead generation. And it goes back to doing the tasks that you know you need to do, but you don't like doing. And so you keep putting it off. And so for lead generation on Facebook, using Facebook groups are really important. Just about every person who has a big business, like industry leaders, right? If you ask them what is the lead generation process they use, the majority of them will tell you Facebook groups. And so when we're talking about organic lead generation, so we're not talking about ads, just organic lead gen. But when it comes to groups, it's not just joining any group, and it's
I
not just
agree.
joining a group that your ideal client might be in. Like you want to be so specific with the groups that you're in, and it takes time. And that's the other part is not everybody is willing to put in the time it takes to find a group. And I'm talking, this will take hours for you. So if we just spent or scheduled onto our calendar, we're going to spend 2 hours this week and maybe 2 hours next week. And our goal is to find 30 groups. Like that would be amazing because you could go in each group one a day and do some lead generation, nurturing, meeting people in there. There's lots of different ways to do that inside of the group, but finding the right group is so important. And so the suggestion I have for you for that is to think of who your ideal client is, and like in two columns. In one column, think of all the words that she would describe herself as. And then in the other column, list out all of the outcomes, the results that she's really wanting in her life. And so if you are, let's say, a fitness coach, right? You don't want to just join a whole bunch of fitness groups. Okay. If your ideal client is a woman, let's be more specific. Is she a mom? Would she define herself as a mom? Then we'd write that down in one column. Would she be a homeschooling mom? Would she be a work from home mom? What are all the things that she would describe herself? A Christian mom? Okay. And then in the next column, when we're talking about results, if she's thinking about her health and her fitness, what are some specific results that she wants? Maybe to have a bikini body by summer. That's very different than losing weight.
Yeah.
And so when you have a list, when you have both lists, it's just a simple search bar, like going into the search bar into Facebook and then combining those two things, Christian mom, bikini body, and put that in the search bar and see what pops up. Christian mom, and what's another result that somebody might be wanting in there?
Being healthy, because some
Yeah,
people are just getting more healthy.
yeah. So if you have a list of all the things that she defines herself as, and a list of all the different results that she is looking for in her life in this particular moment, then you combine those all into the search bar and you will start finding groups that other fitness coaches are not even a part of because they don't use this strategy.
Strategic, yeah, it's like taking it from this big chunk and then narrowing it down to like very specific. And when I did this process, because this is something I learned through Teresa's program, I realized that there were, you used to think, oh, I'm in all the groups. I was like, I'm in all the Christian author groups or Christian coach groups. But when you start doing this process, you realize that you're not, and that there is like a whole population of people out there that you've not tapped into before. And so to me, it was very eye opening. And I've struggled with the strategy piece for a long time. And I call it, and I said this on one of the previous episodes that I just did, I called it throwing spaghetti at the wall. And I feel like for a really long time, my marketing was throwing spaghetti at the wall just to see what would stick. And over the years, I've gotten better, but this has made it really niche down and really strategic. And that was what I needed, is to be more strategic, because yes, it takes time, but the results are better than throwing the spaghetti at the wall. Because I could still do that all day long and still not have anything helpful. If you were going to tell the listeners what is one thing that they can do this week to help them create a plan for their social media to help finish the year strong, what would that be?
I'm I say an event. Choose an event. Events are so key. Okay. Events are so great, not just because we want people to come to an event and see you, as like the event is a strategic tool. It's like having a lead magnet or a freebie, except for it's bigger and better and bolder, and it's reusable content that you can direct people to over time. But if you think of, okay, what are a couple things that are happening this fall? We have November, right? So we have all of Thanksgiving and being thankful and grateful and all the things that are around that. And then we have the winter holiday seasons coming up. We have Christmas and Hanukkah and whatever else, right? So we
Yes.
have these bigger events coming. And then there might be some local events that are happening in your area. So for instance, I'm in Alaska and we just got what's known as the permanent fund dividend. Took me a minute to think of that. Some families have some additional income coming in right now. And
Right.
so if we plan ahead for these bigger things, then we can create events around them. Now, the event is so key because you get to cater all of your content around the topic of the event with the call to action to always be RSVPing or drop me below if you want more details on this event, right? And so you get to start conversations with people around the topic before the event even happens. And then when you have the event, most people, by the way, are not going to come to the event, and that is okay. What we're looking for is to just start conversations around that topic, because the topic should be directly related to your offer. Like, it should be a no-brainer that those two go together. So whatever your event is, it needs to be tied to your offer, so that becomes the next logical step, so that when you are starting conversations around the topic of the event, it's as simple as like, how is this going for you right now? Are you looking for help with this? Are you open to a call? It can be as simple as that. And then with the event as well, like when the event ends, it's not the end. You have, especially if you do it on Facebook, again, another plug for Facebook is you get to have an RSVP event on Facebook. And so everybody who RSVPs yes or maybe, those are people that are interested. So whether or not they attend the event, because life happens, they are still interested in that topic. So being able to, even after the event, have conversations with those people and use the event as a reach out. Hey, I saw that you RSVP'd. Don't know if you're able to make it. Want to make sure you have that information. And oh, by the way, how is this topic going for you right now? So you're always engaging them around the topic of the event, and then leading them into a question. And then, of course, telling them what you do and making those offers. We come back down to those, what are the three things that we can do for our business every day? So if you were to do one thing for your business today, I would say schedule 2 events. Schedule one for November and one for December. Give yourself 2 weeks of marketing ahead of time, making sure that your outcome for every piece of content you put out is focused on that event and starting conversations. And your pipeline is going to be full. Like, you are going to have a lot of people that you are starting conversations with, and doesn't want that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the ladies and gentlemen that are in my group, they all have unique missions and callings. And so everything that you just said, they can create an event that's unique to them, that they can then create a funnel to their books, their opportunities to speak, their coaching programs. I have very varied people doing different types of coaching. And I think that they can implement this immediately and get started to growing their groups, but also just their pipeline of people, even if they don't have a Facebook group themselves.
Yeah. The other thing I want to say on that too, because some people get hung up when they're thinking of groups, because when they think of events because they've done events in the past, is they think that they have to wait until the event to sell. But
Oh,
you
okay.
don't. Like, that's the purpose of having the event, is to just start the conversations. That's the whole purpose of the event. And so when you get to start conversations with people, especially if you have like a sales link, you don't have to make them wait 2 weeks for the event. You can say, oh my goodness, like, this book that I just wrote, or this whatever that I have, is totally for you. You need to go check it out and grab it right
Yeah,
now.
it's perfect for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
and people a lot of times, like you're saying, they don't come to the event. Well, you've lost that opportunity if you didn't go ahead and tell them
Yes.
about it, like during that conversation that you're having with them.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's a wonderful point to make about it, because a lot of times we do wait till the event, but we can use that time that we're promoting the event to get to know these people that are coming into our pipeline and to have those conversations. It really is about that communication and community and conversations, I
Mhm.
think, are the key things that you have shared with us today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to say thank you. I'm thrilled to share you with my audience as my coach right now, and hope that this has been helpful for them. And if they wanted to find you on social media, would you say find your group? How can they find you?
Yeah, so you could go to Productive and Profitable. It will probably be the first group. The last part of that is consistent 5K months for God led entrepreneurs. The group is all about making sure we have the baseline of being able to make consistent 5K months so that we are set to scale. And so Productive and Profitable is the group. And then you could also go to our YouTube channel, which has an incredible video podcast on there, where you are the guest, right?
Yep.
Um, and you can go to productiveandprofitable.biz, and that will take you directly to there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Teresa, for your time today.
Yeah, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. I love it. It was fun.